What's going on, guys? Mega Gig back with another video, taking another look at our Whirlwind build. The Whirlwind set was changed again the other day. Finally, a change to Rend. This is kind of a welcome change, but it might not go far enough in the right direction. We'll see. This is still new stuff. We'll see how the build itself kind of morphs over the next few days and weeks, and if there are any other changes. We're just going to take a look at everything today and see how it works out. Everything again is subject to change with the patch, and even what I say, because the build may change from now to work Rend into it. So I have been messing with Rend, and the changes now are the two-piece set. The two-piece set hasn't really changed. Increase the damage per second of Rend by 500% and increase its duration. The big change that they made now is during Whirlwind and for 3 seconds after, you gain 50% damage reduction, and your applied Rends deal triple damage. So we can now stop whirlwinding and apply Rend, and it seems like it applies a little faster than it used to. Maybe I just haven't played with it long enough, or it's been so long since I played with it. But yeah, so now you don't lose your damage reduction. You can see when you stop whirlwinding, it stays up there for a little bit. And it also does seem to keep the damage reduction from your Mantle of Channeling, but not for the full 3 seconds. So we're channeling there, we're at 108, of course it's counting up, and then that's when the Mantle of Channeling drops off, and then later on, that seems to be when the set drops off. So we got full toughness, Mantle of Channeling drops off, and then the set drops off. Now this also begs the question, can we use Lamentation in here? Because Lamentation Rend can now stack up to 2 times on an enemy. I've been messing with this, and this doesn't really seem to be worth it. Rend does do a considerable amount of damage. It's 1500% because it's 3 times. It's triple the damage of, I guess, of the 500% is what it sounds like. And so stacking that twice is really nice. However, once you get above Greater Rift 90, that damage reduction, that 25% from this, because it's a separate multiplier, really adds up. It took over 100 million off of my toughness alone. Now there it's only like 25 million, but when you get all your stacks, when you get your strength stacks from Rampage, and when you get everything going in a Greater Rift, my toughness was only like 350 million, whereas with Mantle of Channeling and everything else, it's over 500 million. And keep in mind, if you go with this, you're doubling the damage of Rend, but you're also losing a big 25% damage multiplier increase as well on your Rends and on your Whirlwind. So I think right now, my opinion is it's still more official to stay with Mantle of Channeling. That doesn't mean this won't eventually get worked into the build. We'll see how things change over time. But you can't get rid of Pride of Cassius. You just can't. That's just too much. Ignore Pain damage reduction, and that extra 6 seconds, 5 or 6 seconds, depending on what you get rolled, or maybe even 4. That's still. You can't go without Ignore Pain in the higher rifts. So this is really the only area where you would be able to swap that out, and as of right now, this doesn't seem beneficial to swap out for Lamentation. Mantle of Channeling still seems better. Again, subject to change, we will see. However, I have worked Rend into the build, and we moved our War Cry here. We did get rid of Threatening Shout. Again, Warcry with Impunity and Veteran's Warning both provide a significant amount of toughness. Veteran's Warning actually in the toughness rating applies more of a overall toughness rating than Impunity does, but it's really hard again to get rid of that toughness. It's okay in the mid 80s when you're really tough, but once I started trying to push above 90, you really notice this toughness, especially on some elite packs. And I do miss Threatening Shout, Demoralize. I miss the Taunt, but the density you create with that to do more damage. It seems like Rend probably does a little more damage, not counting the density. The only thing is you do kind of get some annoying elite packs that like to run around and you can't taunt them and get them in close, and you end up skipping them if they're getting really annoying. But that's what we've replaced it with. This is just how I've got my skills set up. I did initially try Rend Mutilate. Affected enemies are chilled and take 10% increased damage from all sources. Rend's damage turns to cold. I've kind of gone back and forth on this. It is a physical build overall, so we want to use the the physical roll of this, which means Rend on a physical roll will be doing a lot more damage, like our Whirlwind will. However, if you use Mutilate, then it will increase the overall damage that everything takes by 10%, and when you hit your physical roll, so your Whirlwind will be doing more damage in physical roll, but then your Rend will be doing more damage on a cold roll. We don't really need the heal on this, so if you wanted to, if you're trying to stay completely physical, you can also use Bloodbath if you like. This just seems a little more useful. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and show off the Mutilate rune here, because you guys kind of see what this does. And well, I don't know, we're not gonna make a super long video showing off every option, but we're gonna kind of go over the changes as I just did, and we'll just do like a Greater Rift 90, and I'll show you the toughness amount. But see, we can get, let's go ahead and get our stacks up there, so we're at maximum stacks. So now we're at 10, 121 million. We can stop and Rend, and you can see one thing I will mention before we get in there: if you are using the Lamentation, especially on a Rift Guardian, you're going to have trouble keeping this buff up, this 25% additional damage, which is quite a bit, because you're not going to stay at max Fury, because Rend costs 20 Fury, and even if you cast it twice and then you just keep going on the Rift Guardian, if it's just a single Guardian, you're going to have trouble regenerating your Fury all the way back up to maximum. Now, before, when we weren't using Rend, it's pretty easy to stay at maximum when you're on the Greater Rift Guardian alone, but it's hard to actually regenerate. Your Fury just kind of hovers in the same spot. So keep that in mind. We're not using Lamentation, so just casting Rend once, we can kind of regenerate that 20 Fury okay and stay. It's not actually at max, it's while near maximum Fury. I don't know the exact stat on where your Fury is, what it counts as near, if it's like 5 or 10, but it's kind of easy to regenerate that 20 Fury, but when you increase it to 40, that makes it a lot harder to regenerate that and keep your Berserker Rage up. So keep that in mind too. If you swap out to Lamentation and you're getting the 2 stacks of Rend, when you're on a single target, again, you're going to lose this bonus here because you're not using Mantle of Channeling anymore, and you're also going to lose this bonus because you're not going to be quite at max Fury. So keep that in mind. Again, all this stuff is subject to change, but we're going to go ahead and run a 90, and I'll show you guys kind of how Rend works here. Not using Threatening Shout, however, does go a little easier on your cooldowns, because you're not shouting to taunt things quite as often, and so your Zodiac Ring is focusing more on your Berserker and your Ignore Pain. Sorry guys, I've said before it's hard to talk and play at the same time. It really is. Now the 2 stacks of Rend thing does work really well in a pack. You can do that and then regenerate your Fury back. No problem at all. And remember, your Rends do last for 15 seconds now, so you don't have to spam it. And you can see there my toughness is 566 million. And we are at full stacks. Maybe after this, real quick, we'll jump in and show you what it's like without Mantle of Channeling. And show you my Fury stacks when we get to max stacks. Whoa. When Ignore Pain drops, you really start to take a lot of damage. And Rend should also be able to crit, which will also help increase your attack speed from your Pain Enhancer gem that you're using, if you're using Pain Enhancer. And those crits also count towards more damage towards your Battle Rage, if I'm not mistaken, which again makes more of an explosion of damage as well from that. You can see everything just kind of popping there from our Battle Rage. Lots of poison on the ground. Those grotesques really hurt in these higher levels, and when I wasn't using Mantle of Channeling, I couldn't take any hits from them at all. I couldn't take any hits from their explosions, rather, when they die. The tankiness of this build went away very, very fast. That 25%, which doesn't sound like much, really adds up because it's a separate multiplier. And I don't know exactly how it adds up, but you could definitely feel the difference. Because that was the only thing I changed. We need to get rid of this shock tower. Those things really hurt. I try and remember to refresh my my Rend roughly every 15 seconds, maybe earlier. If you're in a big group, you can do it earlier because you're going to regenerate all your Fury back. And you can see the little bleeding thing over their heads. That's kind of how you know when they've got Rend stacked on them. It's a welcome change to Rend. It would still have been nice to have it actually reworked into the build where like Whirlwind applies Rend somehow. Another change it would be really nice compared to a lot of other builds is if Whirlwind could gain the effect of every rune. That would be a really welcome change, and I don't think it would be too OP compared to, I mean, look, compared to some of the things that like the Wizard does and Necromancer and all that, you've got a long, long way to go when you buff things on the Barbarian to be too OP. Even if Whirlwind gained the effect of every rune, I still think it would be weaker than the other classes. But it would be a lot stronger. It would be a welcome change. That electricity really hurts. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you guys think Whirlwind could gain the effect of every rune and still be considered not OP? Would it just put it more on a level playing field, or would it be too much of a change? Am I reaching there? If you're using the lightning version of this and you're using the wind shear rune, you can swap out, I'm not sure which gem I would really swap out, but you can swap out for the, I can't think of the name, the electric gem, whatever that is. And then you can also use the electric Rend, where Rend does more increased damage. It's like 1300% instead of 1100, something like that. Which way? Is it this one or the other one? Looks like this one. Alright, a nice floor to maybe finish it off. Just go around and kind of rend everything. Especially if you are using the physical rune. Remember, we did switch to the cold rune to have everything take more damage. I'm not 100% sure which rune is actually better. This is a physical build, but you're adding an increased multiplier on overall damage with the cold rune, and then also Rend is going to do more damage when you're on your cold roll. So I don't know. Haven't done enough testing yet to see which one's actually better. I'm sure other people will release videos too talking about it. And we'll see what the whole community kind of comes to within the next couple of weeks. Again, things can still change. More things can be added and taken away from this patch. Which is kind of why I don't really like doing videos on patch changes. Because, again, this could change in a few days or a week, and then this video ends up useless. So I try to stay away from patch changes and PTR stuff, but this stuff was just too big not to cover. Now, one thing I did just think of that you'll have to keep in mind too is when you quit whirlwinding and you cast Rend, when you stop whirlwinding, you don't lose the toughness, right? You keep it for 3 seconds from the set and about 1 to 1.5 seconds for the mantle of channeling, it seems like. But remember, you're actually losing your healing, your life on hit and all that, because you're not whirlwinding anymore. So you do have to keep that in mind. You keep the toughness, but you do lose your sustain. Yeah, see all this lightning here. If I didn't have Mantle of Channeling, I wouldn't be able to tank this, because I ran into a similar situation just like this when I was trying that, and I couldn't tank anything. Ooh, fire chains. God, love those fire chains. These packs are so annoying. And blues. Big packs of blues with 5 or 6. Why do they only drop 3 orbs? It makes no sense. They should drop more than 3 orbs, especially when they've got fire change and they're really annoying like this, and you can only hit 1 or 2 at a time. I don't remember what my previous clear on a 90 was, but it was pretty good with the new buffs, and this was a pretty good rift. So, I don't know, is Rend really doing more damage than the out damages Threatening Shout when you're creating more density? I think so, but is it really translating into higher or faster greater rift pushing? I don't know yet. It seems like it should, right? More damage equals faster pushing, but something, it still doesn't seem to work quite as good as I would like. Again, all this stuff is subject to change. We will see how things go in the future. Rift Guardians do seem to die a little bit faster. I'll give it that. So 4 minutes 53 seconds. I don't remember what my 90 clear was before. I don't know if there's any way you can actually check. You can check the leaderboards on where you are, but Did they reset the leaderboards? They must have reset the leaderboards, I guess. I did not know that. Oh no, they're tier 95. That's my best. Why does it just say 91 here? I'm confused. They must have reset the leaderboards but kept your personal best, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, what do you guys think? We will real quick show the toughness. Let me get this out of the way real quick. We'll show the toughness difference with Mantle of Channeling, not having Mantle of Channeling. I'll just go to the Fields of Misery or something and get a bunch of stacks and show you the difference here. It was a pretty considerable difference. Let's did I miss one? Were there 4 to upgrade? Darn it, I did. Alright, let's close that, get rid of this garbage here. They do have the farming event going on right now. I actually made a quick video about, because in the patch notes the other day, it talked about increasing drop rates and whatever. And I thought it was actually part of the patch, but this was active, and I didn't realize. So I made a video about that changes, and somebody pointed it out. So yeah, I took the video down. It was kind of pointless and silly. Alright. So now let's get to 25 stacks here, and we've got all of our buffs up. We're at 25. So 424 million versus, what was it, 560 something million. So yeah, almost 150 million difference in toughness, and that's when you get up into the greater rifts higher than like the high 80s and higher than 90. That's a big difference in toughness. If you're being more of a support barb in a group, you might be able to do this, but yeah, I don't know guys. We'll have to see. We'll see how things change over the next few weeks. But that's kind of the changes to the Whirlwind build. Again, I would still like to see some more rework rather than just, I mean, this is kind of a good change. I like it, but I don't know. I feel like the whole set could kind of be reworked in a way. I don't know. We'll see. What do you guys think? Are you completely satisfied with these changes? Do you think more could be done? Do you like the idea of Whirlwind gaining the effect of every rune? Shoot me your ideas. You think they've already gone too far? Whirlwind's too good? I don't know. Let me know in the comments, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like and a comment if you did, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks, guys, for watching, and more good stuff to come. Take care.